Welcome to Conversations with Character. I am here with the Death Row Records legend herself, SKG. SKG has experienced the highest highs of the music industry, but she has also seen the dark corners that exist in there very much so. She recently kind of dropped a bombshell on an interview with Tasha K last month, and I'd like to get into that before we get into who you are and how you became who you are. So, for anybody who's watching that doesn't know about that Tasha K interview, you talked about how you were pregnant. Mm-hmm. You got a call from Nipsey Hussle to come to the shop, which was not totally out of the ordinary for you. Mm-hmm. And there have been some questions going on with you starting other ventures and then moving money around and things like that. And once you got there, the notorious Big U, they locked the door and I mean he put a bad beating to you while you're pregnant.
Yeah.
What really made me want to do this interview is you were so real, and then the clip that you posted later, and you were crying later that day and talking about you've been living with this trauma and you had to get it out. What was that like for you? What has been the result since it happened? Tell me about how it's all been going.
I think when anyone come out and they tell a story and they tell it in regards to someone that people love or people fear, it sometimes won't be, accepted. For me, it wasn't even about people accepting it. It was just about me speaking my truth, me being able to feel free from this, baggage that I've carried for so many years. And, it's the beating, it's the lying, it's the manipulation, it's the blackballing, and it's the feeling that I did this and I messed up this girl's life. I messed up her career. I put my hands on her. I could have killed her. I could have killed her child. I blackballed her. And so what? Because I'm Big U. And it's like you tore me down and you tore my family down, but you built you up and you built your family up. And you can't get blessings when you cause so much destruction, especially the people that try to help you and open up doors for you. And, I can just remember bringing him in and, I have him in meetings with millionaires and billionaires and he's thanking me and, he's forming relationships based off me. And because you couldn't control me, this is what you chose to do to me. And mind you, he has like 15 years over me. So I was a young girl, today I'm a grown woman, I'm seasoned. So he couldn't dare do that to me today. It will definitely be repercussions and consequences because of who I am today and everything that I've been through, but he didn't just do this to me. He's done it to other people. Some people, they're just scared to speak up. I'm not, because you've already stripped me of everything. And then we get into morals, right? So you have contracts, Big U has contracts with the city. You have a nonprofit to where you're saying you're helping the community, but you cannot condemn violence when the cameras are on, right? And then condone it and orchestrate it when the cameras are off. How are you really helping the community? Because if you're a real leader in the community, you're not going to do it for show, or you're not going to pick and choose. And that's something that's happened a lot within the community. You're going to uplift the community on all levels and not just one section. It's not just for this particular section. When I had the deal in place, my thing was to help Los Angeles, to help the community, whether you're Black, Latino, even Asian, white people, Bloods, Crips, it didn't matter. It was for the community, for these kids, so they can elevate. And my name wasn't even going on it because I wasn't doing it for show. I was really doing it because this is something that I wanted to do. I had no money being made from my end. It was really getting money for the community. I was a young girl and this older man manipulated me. This older man beat me. This older man blackballed me. And it's not cool. And I didn't have the strength to speak up then, but I have it now. I can stand in my truth now. You know, he's threatened me for telling my story. People's called me saying he's gonna get this done to me. And it's like, listen, you got away with it that time. You ain't gonna be able to get away with it this time, because who I am today, you can't do that to me.
So he's still threatening now?
Yeah, I've had people call, like, you know, Big U called and said he's sending these people at you and he's gonna do this to you and he's gonna do that to you. And it's like, certain things I wanna say, right? But I don't, as a Black woman, right? And I'm on your podcast and you're a white man. If I say certain things I want to say, my community will look at me as if I'm being disrespectful to my race. And I would never belittle, disrespect, or discredit my race, especially to another race, right? But if we're talking about morals and ethic and being human, just being a human being and taking race out of it, you don't do that to nobody. You don't use your organization development options to weaponize and abuse and manipulate and destroy. And then when the cameras are on, you're acting like you're doing all this good. That's not how life works. I feel like the city of LA, starting with the mayor and with city council members and anybody else that's influential, shouldn't want that type of representation, especially if a person has these allegations. You Absolutely. Know, none of it is right. It's just not right.
What made you decide to speak on it during Tasha K's interview?
Honestly, at first, because I've been talking to Tasha K for, I want to say like a year, and people thought that she paid me money or this. Tasha didn't pay me anything. Tasha K was adamant and is adamant in regards to helping people that's really been done wrong, right? And when I went to Tasha K, I was really going to talk about just my death row, you know, time and things of that nature. And Tasha looked at me and said, this is what you came for. This is what we talked about. And it was at that moment to where it's like, okay, listen, tell your story. Tell your story, tell your truth, stand on 10, and tell exactly what happened to you. And so I did the Tasha K interview, but I did it a month before WAC dropped it. So so how it ended up getting dropped from WAC 100, I was on the phone with my friends, and this is stuff that I go through behind closed doors. So this isn't when you have a cell phone and you can film yourself and record yourself crying and you're doing stuff for the internet. This is something I've had nightmares about. This is something I wake up in cold sweats about. I get so emotional when I talk about it.
I understand.
This is something that I have struggled with for so long because I'm angry. I'm angry because I went through so much. Like, people have no clue half of the things I've been through. And this is just something that I needed to get out there and get my strength back and let him know you did not stop me. You know, and I can remember when he was beating me in my face and these words stuck with me, and I forgot to even mention it to Tasha K, but he beat me in my face and he was like, bitch, I'm gonna make sure you never amount to shit. And when you tell a person like me those words, I'm a strong person. I'm a fighter. If a person tell me I can't do something, I'm going to work double time just to show you what you said is not true and watch me do it. And so when he was hitting me and he said that, those are the words. Every time I close a deal in the industry, I always thought about those words. So mentally, I've always went through stuff, but I'm a strong person and I don't wear my pain. You know, I'm a person to where if I'm suffering from depression, I'm a functional depressed person. This situation has made me depressed. This situation has made me angry. And it was other situations with him. It wasn't just this one. Because after this, years later, it was another situation. And so it's always a bullying situation. And it's like, you can't just bully your way through life and then want to reap good benefits when you've destroyed so many people. It does not work like that. If we're talking about the American way, let's talk about the American way. Let's talk about normality, whatever is considered to be normal in this world, whatever is considered to be a productive citizen, right? So you tell people to work hard. You tell people if you work hard, you're able to accomplish anything you want to accomplish in life, right? So imagine you working hard and then you have this person that see your growth, your potential, your ability to get everything you need to get, and they're just blackballing you out of spite, out of hate, out of jealousy, out of envy. It's a crab in the barrel mentality. People want you to do good, but they never want you to do better than them, or people don't even want you to do good. And that's what I feel I've been through with this situation, but I've always had the ability to just want more. You know, I've always had the ability and the passion to just, you know, do my best out of life. And I feel like if they can do it, then I can do it. What I do realize is that I was a young girl with a lot of power, and I didn't understand the power that I had. And here's this older man, and I'm bringing him into my business affairs because I'm looking at him as family, and he recognized the power, but him recognizing the power that I possess was a form of jealousy. When you're young, you don't understand and you can't dissect that because your mind isn't that mature in regards to the experience of life and people and dealing with business and the thought pattern of how people think and move and act. Now I can sense that. I can sense off back when someone's jealous of me, and then I know how to move different. And it's not even jealous from a narcissistic standpoint. It's just jealous because they see something great in you that you probably can't see in yourself, and they know the right position you're going to take off. You know? So when I did that on my Instagram and I made a video, because I was just so mad, and I was on the phone with my friends and I was crying, and these are episodes that I've always had. It's just never been public. And I just did the video and I tagged him, and I would never do that. But it's like, no, like, you're foul, you're wrong, you're everything that they tell you, you're everything that white America say Black men shouldn't be. And I know people's gonna get mad at me for saying that, but that's real. You mistreat women, you abuse the community, you act like you care, you push this, like even what he pushed, you push this thing in regards to, okay, the white man's the devil, right? If you look at what he pushed, you push all this stuff. And then you mind fuck Black America, the Black community, to make it seem like you're righteous, you're doing stuff for the community because you take pictures and you take videos. I've done a lot of stuff for the community. I know a lot of good guys that's done stuff for the community. And because you try to push this agenda, it's an illusion and a camouflage because you still do wrong within the same community that you try to act like you do right for. That's deep.
Yeah.
Then you have people like me, and people would say, well, you were a gang member, right? So they want to dissect and say, well, you were a gang member, you knew. No, I was a young girl who had a corporate job, who was from an area, who wanted to be like my big brother, who was influenced by my community. And I was also winging my way away from that because I started to understand, okay, this is not the right way. This is not life. This is not what I want to be. So I wasn't at work gangbanging. I was at work doing a job. And I brought him into my job because I wanted to help the community. And in the end, this is what happened to me. And I lost everything. And that's another thing. When you're a young girl and you hear 401k plan, I never even knew what a 401k plan was. Like, I was a young girl setting up my life. Yeah. I was hustling. I was grinding. I was setting up my life. And I got tricked out my position from this overgrown ass man because he has a crab in a barrel mentality and he don't want nobody to do better than him. So the woman I am today, I'm very upset. Yeah. Because I understand life now. I understand the position. I understand the business. I understand how people think, and I understand the hate. I understand everything. So when I'm able to sit back and reflect, I'm like, wow, you knew I was going to be great and you did everything in your power to stop me. Now let's talk about, I didn't call the police. No, I didn't. Because growing up, I come from a family that is a generational family from that community. And any Black person will tell you the police has always been bad for us. Always. Yeah. Even in our lowest moments, we've never been protected. So why am I going to call the police? And if you talk about street credibility, well, hell, I didn't snitch on you. Anybody else would have snitched on you and put you in jail. I didn't snitch on you. I didn't send nobody your way. I took it and you stripped me of everything. And not only did you strip me of everything, Big U stripped me for years, told people not to work with me for years, tried to blackball me for years. And now because you're 57, nothing matters? No.
Right.
No.
There's no statute of limitations on how this affects a person.
No, at all. And then you want to post Farrakhan. I want to talk about that. You want to post Farrakhan. You want to post like you're for Black people. You want to post like you're for the Black community. How can you take from the community that you're supposed to protect and give to? If you have a nonprofit developing options, right? And you're contracted and you're getting grants. We get grants, but I don't put that out there. The same stuff he's doing, I'm a part of certain things, but that's nobody's business. I know the protocols. How are you supposed to be for the community, but you are also a disease to the community at the same time? You're corrupt. Make it make sense.
How old were you when it happened?
I was in my 20s. He was in his 40s. So think about that. You took everything from me, everything. I don't need to do it for clout. I got movie deals right now. I have so many things going on. I'm self-made. I don't need this type of attention. Executives will look at this and don't even want to touch me just because of this story.
Yeah.
So what am I doing this for? I need to be free. I need to be free of this trauma that this man has caused and feel like he's got away with, and then still threatening me. Like, shit's not sweet, bro. I'm not scared of you no more. You come, anybody come try to hurt me, it's gonna be way different this time, and it's gonna be what it's gonna be. And that's the time I'm on and my team is on. Because you got a past. You did stuff to me, and on top of that, I was molested when I was younger. This is another thing. He went and teamed up with the person that molested me for them to taunt me. I haven't even told nobody about that.
Oh my God.
Teamed up with the person, like, people have no clue what I really go through. You feel me? It's just chin up, because I'm strong. This man has done so much stuff. And WAC 100 was the first to post my story. And when he posted my story, WAC 100 was the first, because Tasha K, I gave her the interview first. She posted it after WAC because it was a scheduling issue. WAC posted it, and I've known WAC for 20 years. We've all known each other the same amount of time. So if it wasn't for WAC 100, I don't even think I would be as strong, because WAC, people could say what they want about him. He's for right.
Yeah.
No matter how it looked, he's for right.
No, he went to bat for you, for real.
Yeah, and it's not right. Like, it's not right. And I read the comments and I see what people say. And, a lot of people's reached out and said some really encouraging words and really had my back. But I see other people like, oh, she's doing this for clout on a big homie. Like, you guys sound stupid. I'm not in a crab in a barrel slave plantation mentality. That's out. I done did any and everything that a person can do in this world in regards to wanting to be hood. You name it, I've done it. I don't find it that's the way of life. That was being a product of my environment. I was able to get out of that environment and see the world for what it really is. The world is much bigger than a zip code that you live in. And that's the agenda that needs to be pushed. Not fake condoning violence, not fake condemning violence, and then condoning it when the cameras are off.
Yeah. Now, you know, what you went through, there's no words to put on how hard that is. And then coming out and talking about it is just as hard. But I think that the way things are going right now, 2024, between, you know, people like you coming out and speaking on these truths that nobody talked about before, Cat Williams' interview, all these things, there's this evil power that exists in the mainstream industries that we celebrate every day. And it takes people like you to call people like this out for that to change.
Very much so, because, you know, like I used to be, once that happened to me, like I went through so much, and I used to be an ass kisser. I used to want people to like me, and I want to burn bridges, and I don't give a fuck anymore. I will burn the bridge till it's burnt down, because this industry is such an illusion, right? Yeah. And you really have low-hanging fruit that don't want to see you get to the top of the tree. It's just they do not want to see it. And it's a lot of smoke and mirrors. And at the end of the day, if you do something to someone, you have to stand on that. Anything I've done to people, if I feel like I made that move because that's the move I felt I needed to make at the time, I'm going to stand on it. If it's something I didn't do and they're lying on my name, I'm not standing on it. Big U has addressed everything, but he cannot address this because he know what he did to me. This isn't something I'm just making up. This isn't something that I need to say for clout. No, you did this to me. You tried to blackball me. You made my life a living hell. You teamed up with the person that molested me, and y'all taunted me. You attacked me from the aspect of your nonprofit developing options. You keep threatening me through other people. When is it enough? Absolutely. Everything I'm saying is factual. When is it enough? Where's the moral? Where's the morals? And where is the protect women? And then if we're talking about from my community, where's the protect Black women? And then this is where it's like, well, Black lives matter, but it doesn't matter to us. This is when all of this stuff is into question, because if a woman is saying something happened to her, and I'm that woman, and this man acts like he's doing stuff for the community, no. Because you know what you did, and you did it out of malice, you did it out of hate, you did it out of envy. I wasn't attacking you and you had to defend yourself. I didn't steal money from you when you had to put your hands on me. I didn't do nothing but bring you into a situation. And you got mad because you couldn't bully or control the situation. And because of that, you attacked me. Because of that, I could have lost my child. You didn't even care that I was pregnant. Because of that, you called the DP on me. Because of that, you stripped everything from me. Because of that, I lost my job, everything. My 401k, everything. At that time, I just got a condo, 2 cars. I'm in my 20s. I worked hard for this. If we're talking about the American dream and people working hard and not wanting handouts and not wanting to have county assistance or doing this or doing that, the American dream they give us, work hard and you can get whatever you want. Okay, I worked hard. And it all got took from me because of this man, and because of the jealousy and the envious and the hate and the bullying, and because he couldn't bully me out my position.
Now, I know a lot of the hate that you've gotten is because you put Nipsey's name in it.
Yeah, and this is the thing. Like I tell people, I don't have anything bad to say about Nipsey. When it first happened, me and Nipsey got into it. I cussed him out on Twitter. We got into it. Nipsey standpoint from that was, I swear to God, I didn't set you up. I didn't know he was going to do that. Now, me and Nipsey made up right before he died. We talked, we hugged it out, right? Do I believe Nipsey? No. You can't get mad at me because something traumatic happened to me, okay? And I'm telling you, I don't believe that. You set me up. You lined me up. Now, we can go back. Well, Big U had years over us. Nipsey could have did it out of fear. Yeah. So I don't blame Nipsey anymore. But on top of that, me and Nipsey made up. If me and Nipsey wouldn't have talked, it would have been what it would have been, because I was already mad at him for years. Nipsey talked to my brother. He talked to my family. He was like, can you please tell her I did not set her up? I swear to God, I wouldn't do that to her. So I never said fuck Nipsey, or I've never said nothing bad about Nipsey, but you cannot get mad because I'm telling my story about something traumatic that's happened to me. And because I have to mention Nipsey's name, if he's a part of the story, I'm going to mention his name. Yeah. Talk about how nobody went to jail. So if you guys want to be on that tip, how our community say no snitching, all right, talk about why I didn't put nobody in jail. Let's talk about that. Yeah. Talk about how I held it and how I stayed 10 toes. Let's talk about that. Talk about how I didn't send nobody to him. Let's talk about that. Talk about how I set him at the table with a millionaire and a billionaire that cut him a check for his nonprofit. Talk about that. Talk about how I opened doors for him. Talk about that. Talk about how I gave him the radio plug. Talk about that. Talk about how I set up his photo shoots, the photo he still promote in front of the chessboard. Talk about that. Talk about all the connections I gave him, all the doors I opened up. Let's talk about that. Don't talk about, I mentioned Nipsey name. So what? He's a part of the story.
Yeah. How do you think he would respond now if he were still here?
Honestly, he would probably try to talk to me because me and him was cool before he died. We wasn't the best of friends. We wasn't calling each other, but we hugged, we laughed, we talked it out. And we couldn't even get there at first because I was mad at him. But his stance never changed. From the moment it happened, he said he didn't set me up, till right before he died, Nipsey said, I swear to God, sis, I didn't set you up. But my thing with Nipsey is you called me. You blew my phone up. You called me right to the spot. Soon as the door locked on me, you dropped your head. You didn't stop it. You seen me crying. You seen me holding my stomach. You seen all of that. And you dropped your head. So where was the love? So I can't tell my story. So because Nip reached the height of who he is, I have to bow face. Right. I'm not a sheep. I worked hard for my legacy. I worked hard for what I wanted to work hard for. I worked hard for SKG. I worked hard for Halicia Choice. So I can't tell my story because you have an obsession with Nipsey. Well, guess what? When nobody gave two fucks about Nipsey, when they said he wouldn't make it, when they said he was too hardcore, guess who was there pushing the front line for him? Guess who put my job on the line? Guess who went and sat in these business meetings with these white men in business suits who really didn't care two fucks about a young black girl from a neighborhood, but I went in there with my head high because I knew who and what I believed in. Guess who gave him plugs? Guess who opened up doors for him? You didn't, I did. So I can't tell my story because something traumatic happened to me. Why? And then that's where you separate the sheeps, because a leader is going to stand on 10. I don't care if I'm for somebody and the whole world is against them. If I'm for them, I'm for them, and nobody's going to change my mind. This situation, has showed me a lot. But right when I cut people off, I swear to God, doors open. It's like God is telling me, Halicia, I'm not going to bless you and give you what you're entitled to until you get them people out your circle. And this is people who I've done stuff for. This is people who I've gave money to. It's people now I've given my last to. People told me don't deal with them. I still went against the grain, dealt with them. And these are the same people, when this drops, they're right in the mess. So a snake, don't let a snake bite you twice. So once I realized that, it's like, oh, you're cut off. Because guess what? You didn't bring no substance to my life, no way. I felt I was more of a friend to you than you were to me. And when I'm dealing with something traumatic and now all eyes are on me, you're showing me who you are. So when a person show you who they are, it is very important to believe them.
Absolutely.
And that's where it goes back to crab in a barrel, slave plantation mentality, because I'm dealing with something traumatic. Now, I was your friend when you needed to borrow money. I was your friend when you needed help with something. I was your friend when you thought I can do something for you. But now I'm thrown into this situation because I spoke my truth and all eyes are on me. Some people agree, some people don't. And because the person I'm going up against in your eyes is powerful, now I'm seeing who you exactly are. So I poured more into you than you poured into me. And from this situation, I'm cutting you off because you was never for me. A real friend is gonna be with you regardless what you go through. You know, and I just see it for what it is. But I feel like you said, 2024 is the year of exposing. So even people that you think is tight or close with you in your circle, when something happens, everything is gonna get exposed. Everything and everyone. You know?
Absolutely. I mean, how has the depression and anxiety from the trauma been since you spoke on it? Has it been any better?
It hasn't, in a sense. Well, let me not say that. I feel this burden is off of me, right? I feel my story is finally out. What he did to me is finally out. But when people's calling me saying, oh, well, he's gonna do this to you, you can't tell me that. Because see, I will move off impulse. You never know how close a person is on the edge. And people have no idea with me, no idea. So when you're telling me that someone caught a green light on me, that Big U caught a green light and he's telling people to do this, I'm not scared of Big U no more. I'm not. I will see that man today. I'm not scared of him. What I am is angry.
Yeah.
So my depression and my anxiety, I have to pray because I don't want to do anything that's going to mess up my life. And I've already been violated, right? I've already been violated. And to the internet, it's a game to people. But when you've really been through something traumatic, and I'm a strong person, but I've really been violated, it's so not a game with me.
Yeah.
And my thing is I have to pray. I just really have to pray, and I have to stay prayed up. Because if I don't, I will end up doing something that will cost me my whole life. And that's what I'm focused on, just not doing, and focused on what's positive and what's right, and building my family and closing my deals, and just moving forward. But you just never know how close to the edge a person is. And this man has really violated me to my soul. Like, people don't even understand. To my soul. I hate everything about this man. If he died today, I would throw a party. I don't like him. I don't like him for what he did to me. I don't like him for what he took from me. Him teaming up with the person that molested me to taunt me. I still deal with that. It's just a lot. I don't like him. And it's black.
Do you want to speak on who that person is that he teamed up with that molested you?
No, because it's going to come out in my documentary.
Okay. Well, look, you are a force to be reckoned with. And from everything you told me, you always have been. This is just a new form of you.
Yeah.
I would really I'd like to hear how you became this person, and we'll get to the lighter notes of you had a hell of a run in the industry. I mean, you were rubbing elbows with Suge Knight all the time. Like, it's so. Tell me about your background.
And even my relationship with Suge, I feel like he's been influential with trying to mess up that relationship. Like, everything that I've done, this man has went behind the scenes and talked about me, behind the scenes and told people not to work with me, behind the scenes and trying to stop my back, behind the scenes and lied on me after he's done all this other stuff. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. And I sit back because I look at where I'm at today and I'm so proud of myself. I'm just extremely proud of who I am. I'm proud of everything I've accomplished. And I have so many great things happening this year that, I like, even yesterday, I got really great news on 2 big deals that I'm working on. And I'm just proud of the woman I am today, the essence of the woman that I became and I'm still becoming. Because it hindered me, that situation. And like this one lady said, it bruised me, but it didn't break me because I kept going, and I'm just happy that I had the willpower to keep going and wanting to accomplish stuff and wanting to be something. And I believe in hard work. I don't believe in handouts. I don't believe in piggybacking. I really believe in creating my own motion, creating my own way. Understanding, like, for me, the type of person I am, if I don't understand something, I'm going to research it. I didn't even know how to get into the film game. I asked everyone to help me. They wouldn't help me. I researched it and taught myself. I've already made a company $500,000 just off my research.
Wow.
Just off me placing shows on streaming platforms. Like, I bought 500,000 to Tubi alone. I'm working on 2 feature film right now, So this is me in regards to just working hard, building myself, building my catalog, understanding how things work and not asking for handouts. And I'm proud of myself because he didn't stop me. He just seen something great in me and stopped a certain level, but I was able to overcome it.
How did you go from, growing up in the neighborhood to having that corporate job that you were able to make all those introductions? What's that story?
My mother is a very smart woman. But even her story, my mother was on drugs, when I was growing up. And me and her talked the other day, and we were just going back and forth. And I'm like, well, Mama, you didn't raise me. She said, nobody raised you. The streets raised you. And that's the first time she ever really told me that. And I have to sit there and say, She said, but you learned, you did good for yourself. And so I think about that because my mom, and I talk about this in my documentary, she just didn't want to be a mom to me. She had her own problems. She couldn't give me the love that I needed. She couldn't give me the attention, the motherly love. I never got any of that. So I don't even know how that feels. And my mother is a realist and she speaks on it and she say, I just couldn't give it to you. But once she got off drugs and got herself together, my mother was always a hustler, always owned beauty salons. She's always owned businesses. And so what happened is she put me in beauty pageants. And so I ended up being a beauty pageant winner, and I was very passionate and addicted to the beauty pageants. Now, when you're in beauty pageants, you have a different level of friends. So you come from one group and then you come into a diversified setting. And so that's when I start learning people are different, because I didn't know that at first because my mom was on drugs. I was in a gang environment, a very dysfunctional family. And I've seen a lot as a kid. But once my mother put me in beauty pageants and she got her life together, I started seeing different things. And so that's when I understood at a young age that you can have a diverse group of friends. It didn't click all the way, but it clicked a little. So as I got older, you know, I just was going through stuff, but I always remembered that. Once I was rapping, I got pregnant, and I just want to speak the story up. I got pregnant. Once I got pregnant, I had to do something else besides rap, but I always wanted to do industry stuff. I ended up doing events. So I did an award show, and I went back to the beauty pageant. So I was able to do my show because I thought about the pageant show. I remembered how things worked in the pageant world. And I put that into my show, and I brought out 2,000 people.
Wow.
When I brought out 2,000 people, Roy Laughlin, who was one of the partnering owners at K-Day, seen that, and he offered me my job. And so him and Michael Durbin, which was the actual owner, who's a billionaire, I think his family owned like the railroad tracks or something like that in Florida. But they offered me the job. And so from there, I went into K-Day. Now, when I went into K-Day, I still was like just different. You know, my attitude was different. For one, I thought all Black people owned the radio station. I never knew white people radio station. So I'm thinking I'm going into this meeting with Black people, and I walked in and it's like all these white men in business suits, and my attitude, I'm like, well, who are they? Like that's buzz. And so Roy was like, the owners. The owners of what? And so me and Roy just built this relationship. He didn't have Black friends. He was just a white man that wasn't built. He put Ryan Seacrest on American Idol. His wife was Ellen Kay on Kiss. And so, you know, I worked under Roy. Now, everybody in the office with Roy was very, like, you know, just Mr. Laughlin. And I'd be like, oh, what's up, Roy? It was just because I wasn't used to being in that setting. Yeah. And so they didn't understand how my personality was and why Roy just clicked with me. So Roy will come and be like, Alicia, what is this in your hair? I'll be like, oh, it's braids. This is what so I was like his friend because he had no Black friends, and I'm showing him what it is. So I'll take him to Crenshaw because he wanted soul food, and he'll be like, well, my neighbor's Black. I'm like, that shit don't count. Okay, you need some Black. Right? So now, me and Roy is locked in. Now he put me on a salary job. I got my 401k making a lot of, my check will be like, I probably won't get my check until a week later. So I'll be like, Roy, can you write me a check for $1,000? He'll be like, sure. So people thought me and Roy was sleeping together. It was, he just took a liking to me, and I was authentically myself. I wasn't something, I wasn't trying to be someone I wasn't. You know, I was just myself.
That's a breath of fresh air for someone like him.
And that's what, now that I'm older, that's what I think. I think it was just, I was just me, like, whatever, take me or leave, whatever. Or I'll be gone from work and he'll be like, where you at? I'm like, I had to go get something to eat. I'll be back in like 2 hours. And he'll just laugh, and people didn't understand it. But I was a young girl. So this was my first corporate job. Now, once me and Roy started locking in, he started bringing me in on big accounts. And so that's when I started seeing from the account executive side how radio advertising worked and how they can go after corporations that needed advertising, and they'll write a check for $150,000, you know, to get our ROI in regards to the marketing and advertising on the radio station. So I started understanding how advertising work, marketing work, and things of that nature. So I have this job, I'm locked in with Roy. What do? I bring Big U and Nipsey up. And that's how all of that start coming full circle. So when I bring Nipsey, I'm like, Roy, this is my homeboy. This is my little brother. He rap. And he's looking, and Roy's like, is he a gangbanger? I'm like, yes, but you know. And so Nipsey was so hardcore. Nipsey would come up to the station. His hair wouldn't be done. He's authentically himself. He'll walk in, what's up, cuz? Everybody. And he'll walk in and everybody got on business suits, and you know, it was just crazy. And at that time, Theo was the program director. So me and Theo used to argue because I'll be like, he don't know what he's doing. Adrian Scott needs to be the program director. I ended up helping AD get the job as the program director. So now WAC is up there. So all of us is at the station. So I'm doing stuff for Nipsey. We're putting everything together for him. I convinced Roy and him to play his song on the radio. I'm like, no, we gotta play his stuff. We gotta play his stuff. And they're like, he's too hardcore. I'm like, I'm telling you guys. And my whole thing was I just wanted everybody to win. And being authentically myself, I didn't realize I was gonna make so many enemies. Because you have the corporate side that love me. And then you have the other side who can't understand why the corporate side love me. But I'm coming in the door, it's just me, And I just feel like in the end, it cost me.
When did you sign to Death Row?
I signed to Death Row, I want to say it was like 2000, but I was around in like the 90s. I was just young.
Sure. No, I saw one video of you when Suge was just about to get out. You were on the news, man. You were a little baby back then.
I was.
How did you end up getting signed?
So it was a guy. Okay, so I was in juvenile hall. I had ended up getting arrested. And while I was in juvie, I was just getting into so many fights. I couldn't program. It was just hard for me to concentrate and do my time. Long story short, I ended up getting another charge in juvie for fighting a staff and all type of stuff. And so I started going back to music because I needed something to calm my mind so I can get out and I wouldn't keep getting charged on. And I started back writing raps. So once I got out, I went and recorded my demo, and the raps that I wrote is the raps that got me signed to Death Row. And that was through a guy named Keita Rock, who was from the same area I was from, but he was also cool with Suge and Reggie Wright.
Okay. So were you signed before you got the corporate job?
No.
Wow.
Oh, wait, say it again.
Were you signed before you got the corporate job?
Signed, bro, then once I got pregnant, a few years later, I got the corporate job.
Okay. Yeah. How many kids do you have?
4.
4 kids. Man.
Uh-huh.
How old are they?
21, 18, 14, and 13.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Mm-hmm. Now, there's so many different stories about Suge Knight. There's a million opinions about him. What was your personal experience like?
Suge was really nice to me. He thought I was just as crazy as him. So we really didn't have bad blood like other people said they had with him. Like, Suge was really a good person. In my opinion, to me, being a young girl, he was a good person. He helps me out a lot. He looked out for me. The only problem I had with him is he took my publishing from the Tupac song, and I wrote that. Like, no one helped me. I wrote that. That was my verse. I've always been heavy on my pen game. I've never had people write for me. And I missed out on a whole lot of money because he took my publishing. And I didn't know about publishing back then. I was young. I just wanted a deal. So that's probably the only problem I would say I had with him, because it's now I'm trying to correct all of that. Even, in 2024, I'm trying to get that corrected.
What song was it?
Tupac, Until the End of Time, Let Him Have It.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it went diamond. So I'm like, sir, I wrote that. I'm any like ASAP Rocky. So, even if it's a few cents, like per unit, that's a lot of money. I need my money. So
absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, everything that you went through, you really didn't let it stop you. You just kept on going.
I mean, you know what? And I look back and I'm like, I really didn't, because I've done so much. I've really accomplished a lot. And it feels like I'm just getting started, because I'm always learning, and I feel like you're never too old to learn. You're never too old to accomplish a new dream. you're never too old to do music. And people always say, oh, well, some people are too old to be rappers. No, that's a mind thing. Have you seen, what is their name? Keat and Boss? Do you follow them?
No, I don't.
I want you to follow them. They're
Okay.
rappers. They're like 76. And the fan base is I can't wait to go to one of their shows, but the fan base is crazy. And you know, I just always look at stuff like that. Like, if you want to accomplish anything, it's never too late. As long as you're breathing, if you have a dream and a vision, don't let people try to stop you. Even if they don't see it or believe in it. And I think, you know, that's just how I am.
Yeah.
If 100 people tell me no and my mind say yes, guess what? It's a yes.
Absolutely. And I mean, you're right. You can't be too old to rap. I think it's important to be your authentic self. Like, I just interviewed a guy who goes by Dad Rap, and this guy literally just makes songs about the shit he deals with raising his little children. And it's amazing though. It's so relatable, you know?
Yeah.
What do you have going on now? Like you said, you got movies coming up and things like, so tell me about everything like that.
I mean, I'm so excited because I have my documentary that's about to drop. I have a few movies that are in the works. I have independent films that I'm about to shoot. I still have my music. You know, I have a lot of stuff going on. So I'm just excited for the present and the future. Very much so.
Of all the things you've accomplished, what do you consider your greatest accomplishment?
Okay, personally, I would say my children. You know, I would say my children and being a mother, because I love my mom, but she can admit I never had a mother. So I didn't know if I would connect it, especially with my daughters. You know, I think for any mother, you always want to bond with your girls. And me and my mom didn't bond. But me and my girls, we have a really good relationship. And I just think that that's something I've accomplished. That's a generational curse that I was able to break. And so that makes me very proud. And then business-wise, I will honestly say the Tupac album, because that opened the door. It's legendary. Pac is legendary. Death Row Records is legendary. So yeah, it doesn't matter what movies I do that drop, what songs I drop. I just think that right there, how I started, was really dope.
It's pretty epic.
Yeah. And then like his mom, Afeni Shakur, may she rest in peace. I can remember at one time I was homeless with my daughter. And so I was so stressed out because I had no money. And I had called her and she was like, SK, you have a check at Interscope. Your mechanical licenses, your royalties. And because of her, I was able to get 5 figures. I'm like, oh my God, thank you so much.
Wow.
So like his mom was really for women and for the community, and you know, making sure that everything was done right. And so just the Pac situation, being able to know his mom, you know, I think that's the most legendary.
Yeah. So what was your experience with Tupac like?
So the Tupac experience, okay. So when I did Tupac album, he was already dead. So that album was after, right? But I was around Pac before him, but I was young. So I was always around. I was just younger than everyone. So I was in the streets at like 13. Wow. So I was always, you know, around. Even when he got shot, I was on the phone with his aunt, checking on him at the hospital. They were updating me. Yeah. So, but I honestly think that if I was older and I was really able to just be like rolling with them, I think me and Pac would have been like super cool, super tight, because he was a realist and he was authentic and he was really for, you know, his people in the community and stuff like that.
For sure. Now, going back to growing up, you lost your brother at a young age, right?
No, I recently lost my brother in 2018.
Oh, it was recent. Okay. You have some songs and you talked about how like you really did look up to him.
Very much so. I had the best brother in the world. When people talk about their siblings, and I just think back, like, I think my brother was disappointed with me a lot because of the choices, because I know he didn't really want me in the streets or trying to be something that I wasn't. I just think that I was influenced, like I said, and being a product of my environment. But I definitely had the best brother. And I also know if he was here, he'd be very much proud of me, just, you know, for walking in my truth.
Yeah, no, absolutely. By the way, your song 16 Years Old on your last album is an amazing song.
Oh, thank you, with Cassidy. Thank you.
Yes. I mean, that really, it tells your story in such a truthful and honest way. It's absolutely incredible.
I appreciate that.
How long did that take to make that album?
I made that album in 2020. Was it 2019? No, 2020. And, you know, I quietly made it. So people didn't know, like, I got features from Benny Man. I mean, I have some really dope features on that album, and I haven't shot all the videos yet, but it took me probably a few months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, it's like a masterpiece, though. I mean, that's like your heart and soul in an album right there.
Yeah. But I have another album dropping this year. But it was really fun making an album, and just how I quietly made it. Yeah. Yeah.
What are the biggest obstacles you're facing now? I mean, we've gone over your old obstacles, but what are your biggest obstacles now?
It's just deals, like, just, you know, trying to get the deals closed, and a lot of meetings, and making sure that everything is lined up properly. When you're a woman in business, right? And for me, I'm an artist, but I'm also a businesswoman, and I like to be in it, you know, as a businesswoman and an entrepreneur. People don't understand, especially if you're not in an entrepreneur life, you have good days and you have bad days. You have good months and you have bad months. And that's from business, cash flow, anything, you name it, it happens. And I think just making sure that the deals are right, making sure that I'm making the right decisions, making sure that my voice is heard. You know, I think those are the obstacles, because it is still a man's game, even though women are running it, in a sense. And, you know, it's just being respected and being heard. Those are the obstacles, just making sure that, you know, when I walk in the room, they understand, okay, I'm here, I mean business, this is what we're doing. Does this make sense? You know, how am I going to make a profit from this? Or is it a chance I can take a loss from this? You know, does this person want to do business with me? Does this person not want to do business with me? And even when you're in a situation like what I'm dealing with the Big U and Nipsey situation, some people might not want to do business with me because they don't want to be associated with my brand. And that's something on the obstacle side that you have to understand. As I got older, I was able to understand that nobody is obligated to work with me. Nobody. And I'm not obligated to work with nobody. So if I get a no from a person just because of this situation or that situation, that might be an obstacle, but I'll figure out how to work around it. You know, so just making the right decisions in the industry and making sure what my next move is definitely my best move.
Man, if somebody doesn't want to work with you because of that, just tell them, wait till you win this fight. Everybody's going to want to work with you then.
Right.
I mean, you know, it's funny asking a person like you who has seen success and lives their dream, their ideal life every day. But what does success look like to you? Where do you hope to be in 10 years?
So this is very important. I really want to say this. I don't want success. I don't want it to look like success. I don't want it to look like success and it's not. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
To where you can create this illusion, right? So I used to do a lot of events under my company. And I can remember doing this one event, and the event looked so good. I mean, it was a beautiful event. It looked successful, but it wasn't. It looked successful, but I was in a hole. But if you look at the pictures and if you look at the videos, people will say, oh my God, it was so successful. But money-wise, it was zero profit. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So for me, what success looked like, I don't want it to have a look. I want to make sure what I'm doing makes sense. I want to make sure what I'm doing is going to actually be successful. I'm going to actually be able, if it's something where I need to see a profit, that I'm able to see a ROI, I'm able to see a profit, I'm able to see it manifest into reality. And that's like my main thing. I just don't want the look. I don't want the illusion. I'm trying to stay away from that, because even like social media, Instagram, you can create this illusion. And I don't know if you're familiar with that, where you can take these pictures and the illusion is there. But when you log off the app, it's not there. it's like that's not even a life that you really live, and you capping for the app, and off the app, that's not your life. So I don't want to create the illusion. I just want to authentically be myself. I want to authentically love what I do, and I don't want to look successful. I want to be successful. So within the next 10 years, I will definitely be finished with law school. I'm going to school to be an attorney. I will definitely be done with that. I want to have more movies under my belt. I know I'm gonna be done with music, because I said it, like I'm gonna drop some albums, and after that I'm gonna kind of, spin away from music and travel the world and just be happy with my family. Like, that's my goal.
What kind of law are you studying? What kind of attorney do you want to be?
I'm still deciding. I said entertainment, but I don't think I want to do that. I really want to make a difference. So I want to do something where I can really make a difference and then offer free services. Yeah.
Mad respect to that. Mad respect. So 2024, you've got an album coming out. You've got some feature films coming out. Anything else?
And just interviews and stuff like that. Mm-hmm.
Awesome, man. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, before we end the interview, what kind of life advice would you have for people or an artist coming into the industry?
I want to give some good advice. I would tell an artist coming into the industry, never let that no defeat you. If a person tell you no, don't let it defeat you. It's important that you create your own lane. If you don't know something, research it, study it. If you don't know how to do something within the industry, research it. Never take a person's word for law. Always go in when you've researched, that way you know what you're talking about, and you don't have to depend on the next person to guide you, because sometimes they can guide you to a brick wall. So just for artists coming up, just research. Don't take no for the final answer. And if you dream it, believe it, you can definitely achieve it.
Love that. Yeah. Well, look, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for sharing what you're sharing, and mad respect to you for standing up for yourself. I hope that you just keep on this wave, and I can't wait to see the real truth get exposed and you get what you deserve. Truly. Thank you for your time. This has been an awesome episode of Conversations with Character with SKG. Follow her up, hit her up, support her in this incredibly important journey that she's on right now. I'll see y'all next time. Peace up.
The most prestigious network in the land, the Signature Series Network.